Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Barrister Hannatu Musa Musawa, and I'm Minister of Art, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You're welcome to Hanney Mic, Unplugged, a podcast where we hope to inspire, educate, and provide content about everything within the creative and tourism and cultural industry of this great, great country that we come from. Every time I hope to speak to leaders, to actors within the creative and tourism industry, because what we're looking to do is to really open up the full potential of the creative industry. And the best way we can do that is when we explore and we rub minds together. So every week you'll be introduced to someone that is really playing a great, great role in the industry. I'm really, really pleased today. This is the first podcast, and I'm really pleased to say that my guest is someone that I truly, truly admire, someone that I've watched from afar, and someone that I really hope not only to work with now, but in future, and someone whose journey and footprint I know is really going to play a huge role in not really opening up this industry, but really providing something great for the future generations to come. So today I have Mr. Bayo Omoboriowo, a great friend of mine now. Yeah. You've become a friend, really.
Besties.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Being the first person on Hanney's Mic. This is great. And I think it's quite significant as well.
Yeah.
Because we're working on a project together.
Yes.
My ministry together with you, and we've partnered together to really open up that full potential of the creative industry.
Yeah.
But before we start, I want to ask you your name. Because I know Yoruba names always have a meaning. So maybe you can explain to me what your name is.
So thank you, Honourable Minister, and thanks for the privilege to have this conversation. Very out of the office. And this is you coming out of your office to honor what is happening within the creative space, to celebrate what is happening ahead of the future of the cultural and tourism ecosystem. And this is you shining the light on how it should be done, how the government should work hand in hand with its people, with the players, and contributing to the development of the ecosystem. So it's a pleasure to have you here. My name is Bayo Omoboriowo. So in its full form, it is Adebayo. That means I came and I met joy. And that's what Adebayo means. So you've come here now and I can see the smile on your face. So you met joy and you're joyful. And then Omoboriowo, that means a child is of much value than wealth, or much value than money. So you come, you meet joy, but the child you meet is of much value than the money you're looking for. That's what it is.
And I honestly think your parents couldn't have named you a better name, because you really do bring a lot of joy. And I know that joy is not just for people that interact with you now, but the vision and mission that you have in really putting a staple and really putting that enabling environment in place is really something that is really going to bring a lot of joy to many, specifically young Nigerians that are just looking for that opportunity within the creative space. And they've never really had it, because the creative industry has, up until, maybe now, has not really been given the kind of value that it really deserves. And I thank you for what you have done. So first of all, Mr. Bayo, just give me a brief bio about yourself. You know, I know you've spoken about it numerous times, and I know you've done a number of interviews, but I just want to get a background. And I want, all of us watching this or listening to this podcast to really get more context as to what brought you from where you were to the place where you really want to be a staple of change for Nigerians.
Thank you. I think my journey is a movie, and it should even become a script that can be, maybe go on Netflix and everywhere around the world. I never saw today, so it's not something that I envisioned. I remember, and I tell people, and I'm very proud about it, where I was walking pure water on the streets of Lagos. And I thought, there was nothing great that could come out of it. It was just a struggle, with family, we're living in one-room apartments. So father, mother, children were in one room, not one bedroom, one room. And it was a bit of what does the future hold? And I was telling someone just yesterday that most of the people that I knew then ended up as conductors, bus conductors or area boys or, streets, and that was it. But one of the things I'm grateful for is my mother never gave up on the possibility of what the future held for us. So she fought my father to make sure that even if you can't afford anything for my children, just make them go to school.
Yeah.
And education became the foundation for the future that the world is celebrating today.
Yeah.
And education for me was go to school and learn something. And learning something has become the driver of this future that I think the world is celebrating now. And for me, it started from primary school to secondary school. I was privileged because my father was a staff of University of Lagos. So he was able to manage to pay staff fee to get me to school. But I think the mind shift was first the people I was in the environment with. So my primary school was primary school of MK Abiola's children, late MK Abiola's children.
Mm-hmm.
My secondary school had people like Coach Charis, Cosmos Maduka's children, and I had different kind of people around me. I think that's incubation, knowing that we had nothing, but we were in the right environment that gave hope, that made us see possibilities. We didn't have anything. We entered bus, and there was nothing that we were seeing, but the people I was around made me believe. I remember one of my friends saying he was tired of going to Europe on holiday.
Oh, wow.
He was tired of going to Europe on holiday. Where I've not even reached airports.
That's ridiculous.
I've not even reached airports. This guy went to enter plane. I've not even reached airport. I've not seen airports. And then you're saying you're tired of going to Europe.
My
so
goodness.
These kind of things began to incubate possibilities. It made me believe that something great could come out of life. And I started driving life from that perspective. Even though I was hawking, my mind was not in the hawking.
Wow.
Even though I was squatting in the university when I got to the University of Lagos, studying pure and applied chemistry, I knew that the future was big for me. I wanted to make sense out of life. And I finished with 4.26, studying pure and applied chemistry in University of Lagos. And I thought I was going to go into the oil and gas sector. And then I found myself taking pictures. And from there, I went to NYSC. During NYSC, I started learning. NYSC then opened my eyes to the possibilities that the photography space had for me. And then I started taking pictures, going around, taking pictures. And from there, I started asking myself, what niche? Then I went into documentary photography. And from there, I moved to photograph Wando Foundation, photograph different people, photograph different international organizations. And then 2015, I got to work with the president. And why did I work with the president? Because people are saying, he got the opportunity. No, I was going from, because I stand, again, poor boy, stand at newspaper stand, and I'm staring at newspaper. So I would join those people that used to analyze newspaper. And I started seeing the images of Nigerian politicians, and it was poor. It was more of group photo. I'm like, and I was comparing it with New York Times, Guardian UK, and all of them say, they'll do like this. Oh, the future is now. And I said, no, there's a problem within this photography space in the political arena. I wanted to go there. And that's how I found myself, going from election. They were Ekiti, I went there to photograph. Nobody paid me. I squatted, created amazing image. I went to Osho and all of that. And then that led me to TBS, where General Muhammadu Buhari was campaigning. And then I took a picture. And from there...
TBO, right?
Yes, of course. So I was there, just jumping up and down. And I didn't know the president was watching. The presidential candidate then was watching. And we got into the whole thing. I'm like, okay, Bayo, come and shoot me. And someone was telling me, say, Bayo, we're watching you throughout the campaign, the energy, the consistency. And that made me become the president's photographer, which I did for 8 years. But in the midst of that, I was not carried away because I saw opportunity. I got that opportunity to become the president's photographer. Not everybody will get that kind of opportunity.
Of course,
but what can I do for them?
How many people?
What could I do for them? So I rented an apartment in Mabushi and brought creatives from all over to be living there. I was paying for the rent, furnished the place, and started incubating them. And that was where incubation actually started. And from there, I started bringing all these creatives together and we started building. And this is where we are today.
When you look at Nigeria, such a huge population and vastly really impoverished. I mean, we know that. And then you hear a story such as yours, you did not let the limitations that you were brought up in define you. You did not let that hinder you. You just believed, right? You dedicated yourself. You applied yourself. And look at where God has brought you. That's why I say, for me, I think there's God in your story.
Absolutely. Completely.
That's what it is. And I love hearing your story. I've heard it before, and I'm so glad to hear it now. I'm glad on this podcast to share it with a wider audience, hopefully, because I think your story is one that it does resonate, because many people who may not ever imagine that they would have the kind of, interaction with high society, such as the president, as you did for 8 good years, and continue to have this interaction, would never have imagined growing up, as you said, in a one room apartment, would be able to aspire to that. So I think your story is one that, in and of itself, should be taken out and told to Nigerians, should be translated in all the different, in as many languages as possible, so that every young boy, every young girl all over Nigeria that doesn't think that they have the ability or the opportunity to get to those heights knows that if you, Bayo, can do it, they can do it as well. So really, thank you for that. I think it is a blessing, and I really hope that it is made into a movie. And I would only hope that maybe during my time we could get it onto Showmax or Netflix or Amazon or anywhere, because I think your story actually is beyond Nigeria, is beyond Africa, is a story that should be told globally. So really, thank you for that. And you wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor or something like that, but you were somewhat brought into the creative space. And I would guess that a lot of the experience that you had, seeing impoverishment, and then with the interaction that you had in those schools and, what have you, would have allowed you to have a very wide perception of what could be. Do you think that is part of what brought you specifically into the creative space, even without subconsciously, so to speak?
I think for me, again, we can never take away the place of God. This is not because, again, sometimes we could over-celebrate talents and not forget that there's a spiritual being that governs life. For me, I think that has played a huge role. Secondly, for me, is also the power of the information we carry. And one of the things that has transformed my journey also is the word incubation. And I'll say it again. What environment are you incubated? And I think it's part of what effort you're making now to see how can we begin to build clusters for these creatives? How do we, and what are we doing in that sense? We begin to give them a sense of believing that the future is possible. Because once you believe, then you can achieve.
I want you to also talk to me a little bit about Discover Nigeria. Because I think that's part of what you did, right? And I think that's a really great project.
How come you still remember that?
Oh, come on. Just like you, I do read as well. I continue to read. And
it's obvious.
And every so often, I do go back to those people who inspire me, and you just happen to be one of those. So Discover Nigeria, I know that's another fantastic project. I want to talk about that briefly. And I also want you to talk about, I know you did a project in my native Katsina land as well. Katsina, I was very proud about that. I know you've done one in Lagos as well. And then I also want us to talk about Madhouse, because when we talk about Madhouse, this is now going to bring us into the project we're doing together. And the stars did align for me with you being the Minister of Art, Culture, Creative Economy, trying to build on this ecosystem. And then you having this raw experience and talent. The stars have aligned and we have come together to this project. But talk to me about this Discover Nigeria that you did and the project that you did in Katsina, in Lagos, and then we're going to go into Madhouse.
Awesome. Thank you. The Discover Nigeria for me was like I always tell people, you can't remain average.
No.
As I saw the world and saw what people were doing, most times creatives in Nigeria, especially from photography, we create amazing images and we keep it in our storage devices. And I started thinking about for myself, what's the future? I can't also be a creative that is not enterprising. What are the possibilities? But beyond that, how do I celebrate my nation? I am here. I'm super passionate about this country. I don't know. People say I'm crazy.
I love this.
This is home. This is Nigeria. This is us.
We have no other home.
And I've traveled enough to know that there is nowhere like Nigeria.
And we have to make it better.
We must make it work. So during COVID-19, I had written it since, maybe before I even got into government. I called it Around Nigeria in 100 Days. I just wrote it somewhere. And it's the power of dream. Around Nigeria in 100 days, I wanted to go around Nigeria in 100 days. So I think I watched the movie Around the World in
80
100
world
days.
in,
In 100
around the
days.
world in 80 days.
Is it in 80
In
days?
80
You
days,
remember
yeah.
that? So I was like, around Nigeria
was
in
an old
100
movie.
days. And I'm like, okay, how can I go around Nigeria in 100 days? Guess what, Honourable Minister?
What
My
happened?
dream was actually to, God, if you can just help me to travel around Nigeria, 36 states, I'll feel so fulfilled.
Yeah.
Travel around Nigeria I didn't think, I had not gotten to airport. How will I dream of leaving Nigeria? So my goal was, if I can just go around Nigeria, 36 states. That was before going into government.
Yeah.
If I can just travel around. Because then Lagos boy, the only place I'd come to was Abuja and maybe Ekiti.
Yeah.
I'd not travel. Like, if I can just go from one state to another, how would I feel? So I said, around Nigeria in 100 days. Guess what? With the president, of course, we then traveled all around the world.
In less than 800 days, I'm sure.
We traveled around the world.
Yeah, of course you do. You would
and guess what?
Yeah.
I then found myself saying, around Nigeria in 100 days. So I wrote it down. And during COVID, I was like, I had this, idea. Why don't I? COVID, lockdown. The president's schedule is very, very light.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time to just go around Nigeria and just document Nigeria. So I got on the road. In less than 1 week, I didn't need to plan. I just did my research and got on the road and started.
You did it during COVID?
During COVID, because people were scared of their life. It was a near-death experience.
That was
I risked
really
my life for...
I'm telling you.
During COVID, I would wear mask all day. I couldn't open the mask in front of other people because we were locked together. Yeah. I'll just wait. I said this thing because I felt it was just the window I had. Yeah. And that's the power of taking advantage of opportunity.
An initiative.
And guess what now? The book is sold out.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. All around the world now, everybody wants to discover Nigeria.
Yeah, we want more of that. We need to do more because we're really trying to export Nigeria, isn't it?
Exactly.
And this is a great way to do
Every
that.
ambassador now, everybody comes and says, oh, these people are coming. They want to see discover Nigeria. But guess what? If I didn't make that move then, and the move was inspired first by, I am a photographer. I need to tell the story of my country. Yeah. I need to go to the nooks and crannies of Nigeria where nobody is going to. And we went state by state. No state was missed. Fantastic. And we did not stay in the city center. We went down into the villages. And today we've created a massive bank of images that represents the country. They still called me, from the villa recently and said they need some of those images because, again, it's about taking advantage of opportunity. So for me as a storyteller, my joy is, how do I expand the scope? Which is what I tell creatives. You can't just stay within the scope you're familiar with. Sometimes you need to step back and broaden the scope. Absolutely. Number two is, how do we begin to position ourselves for global relevance? If we don't push out our work for the world to see, which is why we made sure it got into Guinness World Record. Whether we like it or not, we just wanted to use it to begin to gain attention. And I think we've gotten that attention. And the same thing went down to Lagos, then went to Katsina, and then we're seeing how we can now deepen it into all the states. Absolutely. A huge potential are in the tourism sites, the people, the culture. For instance, Ekiti, where I'm from, you say Ekiti Kete and you talk about pounded yam. Ekiti is the only state where you eat pounded yam in the morning, afternoon, and night, and you won't have constipation. Neither would you have bloated stomach.
Hang on. Pounded yam in the morning,
afternoon and night with okra.
When are we going to Ekiti?
I wish you. If you say let's go now, we enter the flight and we start going.
And with what soup do we take it in Ekiti?
Okra, eforiro.
What about Begiri?
Begiri is there.
Yes, we're doing it.
You're doing it.
Yes, we're going to.
The governor will be so excited to host you.
We're going to Ekiti, absolutely.
Pounded yam it's amazing. It's amazing. And from Ekiti to Ebonyi to Funtua in Katsina State, there are huge potential. Absolutely. But we need to collect them, curate them, enjoy them, and share them with the world. Yeah. And the world is not coming here to look at our ShopRites or our high-rising buildings. They're coming to celebrate our culture. They're coming to connect with our people and then begin to see how we can open it up.
It's beautiful because what you're saying to me speaks about the beauty that you see. And you see beauty in Nigeria. Yeah. Nigeria is such a beautiful country. It really is. We have huge potential, like we've already identified in the creative industry, in the culture. Yeah. The culture alone, I think what makes this country a standout country is this diversity that we have. I really do believe it. You know, it is not what should, it's not what should divide us. Yeah. That is our strength. And that is the content. And I really do believe that why Nigerians are the best at everything they do, whether negatively or positively, is because it's such a diverse country. Yeah. So everyone has to be the best
Yeah.
they can in whatever
Yeah.
field.
Yes.
So I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I hope that Discover Nigeria, we can work with you more
Oh,
on Discover
sure.
Nigeria.
We need to
see how
expand the
we can-
scope. We need
expand
to
the
deepen
scope.
it, and we need to
Yeah.
share it some more for
Yeah.
like let it penetrate everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason why every embassy in Nigerian embassy around the world shouldn't have a
Yeah.
Discover Nigeria on their entry point or their waiting room.
Yeah.
Every embassy should have it in their waiting room, in their at their reception.
Yeah.
Even possibly all our airports should have Discover Nigeria.
And you know, we're already working with you within the component of the creative economy of the ministry.
Yeah.
And I'd love for us to see if we can have a conversation on the tourism aspect.
Sure.
I think this is a great way.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was doing my master's in the UK, and my master's was in arts and cultural management. And
so
I remember,
you're a maestro in this.
This is my life. And the researchers wanted to work with me. They reached out to work with me as regards Nigeria's fashion.
Yeah.
And then they did a research on Africans' fashion and a specific highlight on Nigeria. And then these researchers were like, they wanted to, so they did an exhibition. So some of the images from Discover Nigeria got into the exhibition in London. And guess what I did at that exhibition? Because I can't give up on Nigeria.
No.
I made every foreigner, both European or American or Asian, to wear our headgear.
Oh wow!
We made them wear the headgear of Nigeria. Yeah. Some of them they wore the big headgear because I needed to ensure that beyond just the exhibition, they had an experience of what Nigeria was. Yeah. Because the more these people see, the more they begin to understand who we are. Yeah. The more they understand who we are, the more they celebrate us. The more they celebrate us, the more they invest in us. People don't invest in just paper. They invest in emotion. When they are connected to who we are, then we can start using it to draw investment. Yeah. And I think your ministry stands at a strategic location to begin to attract these people. But we can't attract them with words alone. We need to attract them with our culture, with the sweetness of our people as well.
And that's what they're interested in. I don't think the global community is interested in Nigeria because of anything but our content, our talent, and our creativity, and our tradition and our heritage. I think it's the content. Really, that's what it is. And now that you speak, sorry, very quickly about Katsina. I do notice that you're wearing something that looks rather familiar.
Very, 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 very.
Maybe you give us a little bit.
I think for me,
the history.
Yeah, this for me is. So I just talked about Europe. At the exhibition, I wore this kind of attire, and then I wore the royal. I don't know what they call the art that you then wear the white thing for Doba that they use for Doba.
Yes.
And then everybody wanted to film it. So for me, one of the ways we celebrate Nigeria, of course, is what we wear. And I was in Katsina State in January, and then I made sure, and this is what I try to do everywhere I go to buy the materials from there. This was from Daura in Katsina State. And for me, beyond it being anything, it's just adorable. And this is Nigeria. This is what should be celebrated. Absolutely. This is what I wore when I was selected as one of the things, the style I wore when I was selected as an Oxford Cultural Leader last year. And then everybody just wanted to connect with you. And I see that as a potential. Like everybody wants to excuse me, what's this? Where is it from?
The interest.
How did they make it? And then the interest, and that's the beginning of conversations, So this is proudly gotten from Daura, Katsina State.
Yes. It's called Aska Takwas, and it's only for VIPs. And we know that you are a VIP in Katsina State.
So you guys chose...
You're an honorary Katsina Indigene, you know that,
awesome.
Right?
So you chose to adorn me as a VIP.
We have adorned you as a VIP. So that's amazing. Please tell me a little bit about Madhouse. You mentioned earlier on that we got to know each other a lot more intimately when I came to visit you in Madhouse, right at the beginning. When I was
you're one of the
minister.
first people to come.
Yes, and I'm so glad that I went there because it really did give me a lot of confidence and inspiration as well. So please talk about Madhouse and what has been done there, where we're going, all the things that would love listeners to know.
I think for your coming as one of the first people to come already shows your commitment to this industry and your intentionality at intentionally accelerating the development of this creative cultural and tourism
Yeah.
ecosystem, and that's really deeply appreciated.
Yeah.
But beyond that, the dream of Madhouse started in 2016 into 17, and I remember that period the president was ill, and I had a bit of windows
Yeah.
of free time, and I put on social media, I have some time. What would young people want me to do for them? And then I saw, boom, messages. Train us, support us, develop us. We just want to be trained. We want workshop.
Yeah.
And I said, training. Like everybody said, Bayo, we love, want to know what you know. I was like, okay, this is interesting. And in about a week, I designed a poster, put it out there, spoke with Relay, which is the power of collaboration, Relay of Relay Gallery.
Yeah.
And I celebrate her. She opened her doors to me. I didn't have any space. She collaborated with me and said, oh, let the guys come. And now we went to Relay Gallery to do training for photographers. I was literally begging people to go back because the room was filled up. People were standing. There was no space to stand. People were now at the door. I said, this space is filled up. We can't take anybody again. But I saw into the eyes of these young people the desire for knowledge. Man, one of the things that can accelerate is knowledge. At Madhouse, we say, know more, do more, earn more. If people know more, they will do more.
Yeah.
If they do more, they will earn more. So we can use this industry that you are leading to actually cause a socio-economic development. In the sense that people now begin to, their orientation, their way of reasoning, crime and all of this, we can use it to solve unemployment, use it to create jobs, and then use it to increase the economic potential or opportunities that is available to these young people. And that's what I saw that day. And we started this movement called Unabashed Africa. And after Lagos, we started going from state to state. We went to Ogun, we went to Ibadan, we went to Kwara, we went to Osun. I saw young people trooping out. And then I went to a state, and the guy, his brother came, he was part of the participant, and he said, if you ever want to go to Ondo State, I will fund everything. I've seen this quick transformation in the life of my younger brother. In just a few days of you impacting this knowledge to him, I would fund you coming to Ondo to just come and train these people. Yeah. And I was doing everything for free. Nobody paid a dime. And from there, today, I can mention names of legends in photography who were discovered through that movement.
Oh, wow.
And this is between 2016 and 2017. And then 2017, the president came back from his medical trip, and I couldn't go in. And I was meant to be in Kaduna the day he was coming back. Yeah. So I had to send my friends to go stand in for me. So it dawned on me that going around is not the best. I need to create a space that young people can come into. Absolutely. And the first move was renting that apartment in Mabushi here, and I started incubating them. Then I saw what happened by just bringing all these creatives together. I said, we need to create a space. And then I went from place to place looking for land, and then finally I said, you know what? Why don't we go to Lagos? The volume of creatives in Lagos are actually, rich. The partnership with a university can actually make more sense because the young people are already there, and that's why we chose to partner with University of Lagos, and we went there and we built.
That's a great idea that you did it in the university.
Yes, because education, they've already started. They just need to catalyze. Yeah. Because many times as young people, we think we need to do everything. We don't need to. We just need to collaborate together. We need to support one another to doing rather than saying, "Oh, I could have gotten a land and say this is me, Bayo Omoboriowo Foundation." But I felt no, it's Madhouse. Nobody has paid a dime to use Madhouse. Yeah. We'll have equipment there. We have different things there. And different people who have supported us up until now are now beginning to see the value that place is delivering. And thanks, of course, to different people who, if I start naming them, that contributed intentionally to making Madhouse a dream. And of course, you then came and we had the conversation of the possibility, which is in alignment with our dream to expand Madhouse to other states. And people are already reaching out. Yes. How do we have Madhouse in other states? We can't just have Madhouse in Lagos. And our shared goal then became to make Madhouse in 6 geopolitical zones for a start, which is how can we situate, just pick 6 different locations and put Madhouse. And with the impact we've seen Madhouse creating, including the residency we are doing together now. And
you're going to talk about that.
Yes, the transformation. So we've seen the transformation. We've seen the ecosystem and how this Madhouse is enabling the ecosystem. Somebody just reached out to me just a few minutes before this conversation started and said, "Bayo, now I see why everybody is talking about Madhouse, because for us, we will not compromise." My dream was that I wanted to create a space where the world wants to come to. Yeah. And the world wants to come and interact with our creatives. And guess what? Before we launched, the German Chancellor came.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, we've not even, my dream has already come to life because the president of a nation is visiting Madhouse uninvited to come and see what the power of creativity is in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how much this opportunity holds.
Yeah.
And we've done different programs, we've done different trainings.
Yeah.
We are incubating the community, we're supporting the community, we are even handing over, giving funds to creatives to create.
Yes.
And we're supporting them with equipment, with enabling environment, maker spaces, and even bringing investors to meet with them. And that has actually created a whole lot of support for the ecosystem, and young people are being developed and getting opportunities. And that's the story of Madhouse. And now we're seeing how we can accelerate it and build more Madhouses.
Absolutely. Listen, I love just listening to you talk because you have such a passion, you have such an insight into what needs to be done. And, you know, from the very beginning, I knew that if I really wanted this ministry to move forward, it was important to work with people that existed in the industry, because it's people in the industry that understand the pulse of the industry. And I'm really hoping that as we continue to have this conversation, and I hope our podcast is going to be a periodic podcast, myself and you, so that we continue to engage people and to highlight them on what we're doing. So, but just before we do that, you know, I said that everything has to be Nigerian, right?
Very Nigerian.
So even what we're going to eat is going to be Nigerian. So I had wanted to bring fura, we didn't. But I'm so glad that you came prepared. We have hibiscus here, right?
Yes.
They call it zobo.
Zobo.
And this is, you're the one who provided this for me. So thank you.
Very, very purely Nigerian.
Purely Nigerian. And it's actually medicinal.
Oh,
apparently it's quite medicinal. And it's really nice as well. So
sip
and and this, do you want to oh, that's really nice, this zobo. My good, can I have another sip? Yeah, I'm gonna have another sip.
Don't let me finish it yet.
You know what, this
nice.
This may be one of the nicest zobos that I've ever had, and I'm not just saying it because
it's made with Nigerian and Nigerian. There's something in our hand that when it touches something, it just...
there's something about Nigerian. and this you explained to me because I wanted to bring some local delicacies.
Yeah.
But I came and you had this. And so you're probably going to explain to me what this is before I put it in my mouth.
This is life.
Right.
You guys call it dankwa.
Okay.
But in Yoruba, we call it Tamfiri.
What is that? Say it.
Tamfiri.
Tamfiri.
Aye.
Okay,
if you've been on the street in Lagos, you know Tamfiri.
Listen, the next time I go to Lagos on the street, I'm going to ask them for
Tamfiri. That way, exactly the way you said it.
Say Tamfiri.
So that it's
I'll make sure.
When you say Governor Sanwo-Olu, you say, I want Tamfiri.
And when I go to Ekiti,
you say you want
Tamfiri. Okay, that's great.
And it's made from blended granite and then mixed with it's amazing. It's live.
I know this. We have this.
The guys at the other side of the camera feel they want us to give them some, but this is for the people on the podcast, not for the people behind the scene. Unfortunately,
you did not build Madhouse. You're not the Honourable Minister.
Exactly.
So you can't have the
So this is very nice.
No, it's really nice. It's groundnut, isn't it?
Yeah, and that speaks
I love it. Yeah.
That speaks to what we should, we should start pushing out. The narrative around these things. And just like the way we, your kids or my kids will say McDonald's, and they keep re-echoing it, and then it sticks. Or they say Chick-fil-A. And then they say all of these things, and then the world is buying into it. But what are we saying that the world is buying into? Why can't we begin to and we are telling the story around it. Before you know, even the woman selling, and if you go there now, you see the woman selling amala. There's Yaoyo in Abuja here, and I'm always shocked when I hear that people come for conferences and then they go to Yaoyo. That means there's something about what she's doing.
Yes.
Or Father Boy in Lagos, where everybody, international guys come and they go to his store to sit down and eat. That means there's something in our food. And this already shows how you see, we can't even stop chewing.
No, it's
so
amazing,
nice.
honestly, because even my white friends, when they come, and I want to take them for sushi or something, no, they don't want sushi. They want to go, there's a place here in Abuja, it's called Gindimongoro. That's not the. I mean, those who understand Hausa know that it's, you know, I don't want to translate it, but those who know Hausa, but it's actually called Mangoro, and it's under a mango tree, and it's like a proper
local,
local mama.
And that's where they want to go.
That's where they want to go. So, you know, it shows you the interest, and this is gastronomy as well. So this is part of the content that we have. And one of the things that we were thinking of doing, hopefully, is doing a gastronomy museum. Perhaps that gastronomy, again, with this project that we're doing together, is something that we can think about.
Gastronomy museum. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that.
I went to one in Brazil, in Bahia. You know Bahia, where they have the Nigeria House, where Michael Jackson did his music video. One of the music videos that he did in Brazil, and it's in Bahia. And what's the name? I can't remember. Does the cameraman remember? Does anyone remember Michael Jackson? They don't really care about us.
Yeah.
You remember that music
of
video
course
he
I
did
do.
in Brazil?
Yeah, I did.
So he did it there, and it was there that I went into a gastronomy museum. And surprisingly, because Bahia is a community, is mostly Yoruba people. That is the Yoruba people. They still have, they wear Yoruba
Brazil
clothes.
And Yoruba is
they
very...
have they Orisha, they eat amala, they eat akaraje. I think they call it akaraje. So there was where the gastronomy museum was, and when you go in there, it's actually palm oil, it's Nigerian food. So, you know, there's a lot of strength in that content of ours. So I think it's something that we, like you said, we need to realize and
activate and push it out for the world.
So myself and you have started working on a residency program. I'd love for you to say that, because we're partnering together to bring in the creative, to create something magical, right? So I'd love for you to talk about this residency program and how we hope to expand that.
Let me say, this is a match made in heaven, is what I would say, and the idea is our brilliance. I think beyond you is the team of people you're working with. You should celebrate your team who sees visions and quickly align on it. I think what we should be talking about
there's
is...
one right there looking at
us.
She's behind the camera, so they can't see her.
They can hear her name, Moriam.
Moriam.
Google the remaining.
I'm sorry, Moriam. She's right there.
You know, it's how people take
absolutely.
ideas, and you know, and your leadership is something that should be celebrated as well. Because what we are not talking about is the power of this residency. And Madhouse, with the Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy, is in a marriage. But what that marriage is betting is that the works being created by these creatives who have come from different parts of Nigeria now and are working, you know, for a duration to create work is actually one of its kind in the history of Nigeria.
It's amazing, and I really hope we can see how we can expand it. I think we must expand it.
No, I think it's what you've already bought into. It's already what it should be. It's already what it would be, because this residency needs to now go down into other areas. It needs to be expanded. And of course, I know, you know, you won't give up on this with what has happened already. All we should be thinking about is how do we scale? How do we then begin to take these guys to international exhibition opportunities, where we buy into international exhibition opportunities and say this residency was made in Nigeria to the world, and let this international people begin to take the work and adorn their own homes around the world. And I think it's something that should happen.
Like you said, we have to upscale it. And I promise you, Mr. Bayo, I'm going to be very intentional in the short time that I'm here to make sure that we do everything to upscale it, and then to also expand it to other fields. You know, the creative sector is so huge, as we know. So many subsectors, like almost 49, and I know you're very committed in ensuring at least the main subsectors that will really add growth and value to just different Nigerians, and also to the economic growth of the country, you know, will be carried along. And now this brings me to like the real McCoy of what we're doing, which is this amazing, amazing project that we're working on. I mean, we unveiled it a couple of months ago. We're still working towards unveiling it, you know, doing more. You know, we have great laudable plans on it, very ambitious plans, but I think very reachable plans. So Abuja Creative City. We're actually filming this podcast.
Right, live.
Right here in the main office of the Abuja Creative City. So this is the Abuja Creative City. One of the things that I wanted to do from the very beginning is to make Nigeria the creative hub and cultural hub of Africa.
Yeah.
We have the ability to do that because the content is in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I don't see why we should allow any other African country to provide the infrastructure and the ability to do the capacity building in place so that Nigerians have to go out of the country to be able to access this infrastructure. So when I came on board and I had this amazing idea, one of the things I know we were asked to do was to make sure that everything we do was in conjunction with the private sector,
Yes.
PPP, because that's the best way to really
sustain.
have long-term sustainability of anything, right? So God brought me to you.
Yeah.
You know, we spoke about God in your story.
Yeah.
This is God is all over your journey. And he's very present in my own journey, being a minister and being here. And I honestly think that it is God that brought me to you because it aligned. I had this idea. You already had a template and an infrastructure put into place. So we decided to partner together, PPP, and create Abuja Creative City. Abuja Creative City is going to be the one-stop shop for the 49 subsectors. So people will fly into Nigeria specifically to come into the Abuja Creative City. So please, Mr. Bayo, I would love for you to tell me a little bit more, or to tell the world a little bit more about the Abuja Creative City.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I think the Abuja Creative City was and the collaboration with the ministry and the team of the Creative Park was just a union that was waiting for the right time for the parents of the bride and the groom to meet together and then begin to put rings.
A whole wedding.
It's a whole wedding.
This
is a wedding. It's a wedding. And the joy is that beyond the wedding is that the marriage in itself will be very, very fruitful because one of the vision of the Abuja Creative City in itself, which aligned with what we wanted to do, was to create a productive ecosystem, where Nigerians begin to think about skill, where skill is what we say from idea to product to industries. Abuja Creative City is where ideas become products and where products become industries. They keep saying the creative space in Nigeria is not bankable. But we want to use Abuja Creative City to correct the fact that it is very bankable. We want to create a space that begins to show people that young talents can actually not just live idea in idea form. Art for art's sake. But now art for economic sake. That young people can come together in a city and create together. They can collaborate together and build products that can now be exported. Consumed locally, but also exported to the world. And this is the only way we can begin to generate revenue. So in the city, we have maker spaces where young creators can make. Where both artisans and contemporary artists can join forces together to create. Number two is where knowledge can be transferred, which is why we are going to have a component of Madhouse in it. Knowledge transfer across the country, not just living art in Lagos alone, but bringing art to the center of Nigeria, where the guy in Kano can connect with the guy in Ilorin, where the guy in Ilorin can connect with the guy in Ebonyi, where the guy in Enugu can relate with the guy in Port Harcourt, and begin to shape the future of Nigeria that we want. So we have animation and film studio that is going to be created here in the city. We have a maker factory where ideas will be turned to prototypes and prototypes will be scaled. And we are at the center of the industrial area of Abuja. Right around us are industries. Number two, we are at the center of 5 tertiary institutions. So around us are young talents looking for opportunities. And without even going too far, we already have students that are coming from universities begin to work with us and come and learn from us. And they want to share knowledge. They want to, they are hungry for it. So we are creating that whole ecosystem. In the middle of it is actually knowledge transfer, education. So young people can come, they can learn. If we do a maker factory, young people can come and intern at the factory. While other people are producing, some people are learning. And the ripple effect of what the Abuja Creative City carries is what the future of Nigeria should be hinged on. The fact that we can have the movie studio where young people can learn. The future is big for the city. And the I'm excited about your commitment to see this thing come to life. And we want to show the world that government and private sector can actually unite together to build something tangible. The world is waiting, but we want to use Abuja Creative City to show them that it is not audio signing.
No.
It is really a signature that attests to the fact that government is serious. That also attests to the fact that government cannot do it alone.
No.
But if government goes into that wedding ceremony and the marriage with the private sector, with people that actually are serious-minded, because this conversation is a very serious conversation, and it's not just a conversation of ideas. Oh, we have an idea, let's go and meet the ministry. No, it is that we know what we want to do as an organization. The ministry has a vision it is trying to push out. We've come together, and that's the only way where divorce will not happen in the future. So this marriage is possible.
Well, since there's a marriage, I guess we have to make it work, right?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I just wanted to, very lightly, what's your favorite dish? Because I'm always interested in knowing what people like.
It's funny.
Because I love food.
That's why we have to do gastronomy museum.
Hint. So you got the hint.
I got the gist. But for me, I think if you give me properly boiled yam with fried egg, but the egg sauce must actually go to avad, which simply means you put corned beef inside, you put sardine inside, and then you slice the pepper and the tomato and the onions, and then it's so boiled yam, but the egg sauce cannot be normal egg sauce. It has to go to avad. And then it then makes it
have a PhD and everything. Right?
Exactly. The egg has to.
But now you see, you have to make sure that you also treat me to that, because I've never seen that kind of
no.
egg sauce.
You just go to bed after eating that kind of thing.
That's a pretty rich egg sauce. I mean, that's
pretty
quite
rich
decadent.
one. No.
I would love that. Sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
But that's a few calories.
Well, there's nothing to. What's this calorie doing? There's space for the calories.
You're a man.
There's space.
we women were.
I'll give you a very light version of it. You just two spoons and then you're good.
3.5 spoons.
Oh, you're stepping it up.
Yeah, 3.5.
Okay, we can take it to 5 then.
You know why I'm saying that? Because I don't want to. It's on a podcast. So if anybody sees us eating it and they see I take 1, 2. And I'm on the 3rd, they're going to say, that minister did not say she was going to take the 3rd. So I need to put it on record. But
And I'll make it. So maybe the next podcast will be in the kitchen. I'll make it and you will see it and you will eat it.
Listen, I'm good for that.
Oh, so
I'm very happy. Okay, that's a deal.
Deal then. But we'll add some pounded yam to it. Because the yam we'll now pound the remaining.
Oh, you will pound the yam?
The remaining one. The first one will eat yam and
boiled yam.
Yes. Then the remaining one will pound it.
Oh, you will still
because
pound?
I'm from Ekiti. I don't want them to say, it's pounded yam. Before they say, it is pounded yam, but it is first yam and egg.
You tell them that we came to Abuja. In Abuja, every day we eat pounded yam. But no problem, we'll still eat the pound. I like pounded yam.
Exactly.
Promise me to have it with begiri.
Begiri and
Ewedu. Yeah, absolutely. So, and pomo.
Pomo kika.
Oh, which one is pomo?
Pomo kika. You
don't know pomo kika.
The pomo that is a catalyst for the development.
You see, that's why you read. That's why I need to read as much as you.
Pomo kika.
The
pomo is rolling like this inside.
Oh, is that pomo that goes round?
That goes round. Then the pepper will now go inside the middle.
It's not sweeter.
We won't finish this podcast if we start it.
Anyway, quickly, what's your favorite Nigerian designer? So many great designers, but you don't have to say if you don't have to. But if you do, okay, your 3 good Nigerian designers.
Okay, good. I think, of course, it will jump at me. Ejiro Imostafiri.
Yeah,
is interesting. My Atafo has stayed consistent through the years, but there's this crazy guy. His brother ran for president. This is just mad.
Is at the top of your head?
Yes, his ideas are crazy. He's the one with. It was still
It will come. It will come to you.
Is amazing, and it's the energy through which he's designing. But I'll leave all those names and mention the ones that are actually what the world should pay attention to now. Dylab, Ekikere, and Kekerele. These 3 brands are phenomenal. And Ekikere in particular because of the sheer innovation, local material. She's even using raffia to make raffia to make. It's It's wild.
We have to get her on one of the podcasts.
Oh, Ekikere is
No,
crazy.
we have to get her.
She's phenomenal. The ideation, and she's young. Like,
Miriam,
you know, and then if you think
I'm gonna need her on one of the podcasts.
Oh, Ekikere is fantastic. But if you now think of fashion designers on scale making Nigeria proud, then you're talking about Andre Yama. Andre Yama is someone that if you see her work, if you don't know the Nigeria that we are now celebrating, you think this is not from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Andre Yama is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And these are people that are now beginning to export their products to the world, which is where we want these creatives to begin to go.
Yeah.
Don't just stay local.
Yeah.
Go global.
Absolutely.
Because there's nothing wrong with Nigeria competing with the world. We have what it takes to compete with. Our music is not competing with the world, but we need to leave just focusing on music alone and now begin to expand into fashion, into textile, into leather works. These are raw materials we have. Our leather is in Kano. Why can't we now become the leather center of the world?
Absolutely.
And these are the things that the ministry should continue to push. How do we make the world see our people? How do we keep going? How do we also continue to incubate them so that the quality of their work continues to get deepened? And that's the only way we can bet the future.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I mean, you've had such a rich experience, you know, from your childhood up until, becoming as to how you think I can continue to really navigate and shape this ministry to impact best the creative industry. So, you know, you've seen the highs and lows. Number one, what do you think are the main challenges that creators face? Second, what do you think government should do more, and i.e. myself, should do more in terms of how we can really create this enabling environment that we're looking for? And then, of course, the policies. I think we've spoken about the policies in the past. But just give me your own advice and input as to the challenges and what you think I can do more to make this better and more accessible to creators all over Nigeria.
Thank you, Honourable. So I think one of the key things that's very essential is actually a framework around education. And I keep saying education because if I'm knowledgeable, there are some things I don't need to bother government about because I already know what to do. I know where to go. I know who to reach out to. I know how to reach out to them. And our people are not just Lagosians. Our people are Nigerians. And Nigeria, we need to then begin to measure what is the knowledge bank that these people carry. If government is going to do anything from my own standpoint is, how do we radically educate our people? Radically. And it cannot be using the same formula that the Western world handed over to us. So the young guy in Azare in Azare in Bauchi State, who might never have access to Turanchi. He doesn't have access to English. He might never get the opportunity to learn English. Let's face reality. But he understands his Hausa very well. And you teach him art and craft from that Hausa language. Man, not everybody in China speaks English. But the China can tell USA, go to hell. Because why? They have substance that they carry inside of them. We need to revisit our education system. And I'm speaking about it for government now. And as it comes to relate to your ministry, which is art and culture, one of the things that can save Nigeria today is art and culture. Why? If you go to a local community now, they are weaving something. They are dyeing something. They are painting something. They are doing calabash. They are doing clay. They are doing pots. They are even the amu they are using to put water inside. There's art in us. Why don't we elevate that? Why don't we educate our people in that? Okay, their parents might never be able to see, no matter how much government makes education free, some people will still not go to school. Because their problem is not even the free access. It's the fact that they are scared of even the English they'll go and speak there. People don't even want to go and embarrass themselves. Say, well, let me just stay at home. But in their local dialect,
that's very true.
They can learn something. Now, once they are educated, the guy is super talented in art. Let's go back to history. Demas Nwoko did not study architecture. He was an artist. Today, the world is calling him up and down. You are talking about the young boy that knows how to weave this attire I'm wearing, but he cannot speak English. But the day he weaves this thing and the world recognizes it, before you know, the English will enter him by force. Because first thing is, he has substance. He carries substance. Substance is what the world is looking for, not English. So we need to revisit, how are we educating our people? Must they go to the four walls of the classroom, or we need to reinvent education? And reinventing education is that we sit down and ask ourselves, what is our peculiarity? What is, you say access. Some people will never see, they cannot cross bridge to where the school is. But in their local community, can we create small learning environments where we bring corpers, NYSC, and say, you know what, you are passionate about art and craft. You are from Lagos. Go into this village and help them develop this art and craft. Then we'll begin to see what is possible.
Yeah.
Reinventing education. And the Ministry of Education then needs to work with you. Or how can we work together to reach the unreached?
I want to tell you something. You know, one of the great things that my mom taught me from a very young age was a great saying by the Mahatma Gandhi, when he said, if you want to see a change in the world, be the change yourself.
Yeah.
And when I hear your story and I look at what you're doing now, and if I had a telescope that I could see into the future, I know, Bayo, you are one of the Nigerians that has dedicated himself and his life, his energy, and his resources to be that change that you want to see in your society. And when we talk about the best of being Nigerian, I can honestly say with hand on heart, you are one of the best of Nigeria. So thank you.
So much.
I'll let
Thank
you
so much.
close up before I come in finally.
I think for me, I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to the vision that you carry and the passion with which, I do not see this as a right, but a privilege that we are having this level of engagement. But one of the things that drives me is that I've seen poverty. I've dined with poverty. I've tasted poverty. I've been in room poverty, and I know that no Nigerian deserves to be poor, and no creative deserves to struggle to even pay their bills. I'm a creative. I've worked in the creative sector. I've worked in government. I've worked in private sector. I've worked with the creatives, and I know the pain of an average creative. So my passion comes from that understanding. And my drive comes from what I've seen in government, what I've seen outside of government, and what I've seen in the arts of an average creative. The future is possible. And this future must be delivered. However, so when you say, where is my belief and hope coming from? It is because Nigeria cannot remain like this. This country has huge potential, and it deserves to stake its seat in the Committee of Nations, not just as the giant of Africa that is already losing weight, but as the giant of Africa, but not just for Africa, but giant of the world. And the future is now, and the future is possible. Thank you so much.
Mr. Bayo, with your beautiful heart and your pure soul, I thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Chop knuckle to end the segment.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.